Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Good evening to all the internauts that are watching us. And welcome. Happy New Year. Hope I wish you all have a wonderful 16. Many blessings. If anybody needs a translating, we have some in the back on the chair there. We have a friend doing the translation, so for Portuguese. Well, we started this year with here at our center with Alexandre. Alexandre Alves started Sunday. It was January the 3rd, talking about the man in this world and talking about why we are here. Why, once we are in the spirit realm, where do we go? Where do we live? Where is our home, our real home? If it is nosso lar, or if it is any place at all, who do you think is with you? It's a question, people. You can answer, you can talk to me. Who do you think will be with you? Or who will you be with once you leave this planet, once you leave this body? With Jesus? With your loved ones? What do we learn here? What holds us together as spirits? As a group? Love. Love is what? A feeling. What else? If you don't love somebody, do you think you're going to be with them? If you don't love them yet, let's put it this way. Well, what the spirits tell us is once we leave this body, once we leave this dimension, we go to another one where we are going to be together by our affinity. The ones who get along, the ones who think alike, the ones who feel alike will tend to be together. If that's true, then do you agree there's going to be no conflict at all? Because everybody thinks like you, right? There's nobody there to fight with you. It doesn't matter if it's bad or good. If everybody thinks like you, if everybody's like you, there's not going to be any conflict. So where do you practice your patience? Where do you practice your understanding, your comprehension? Here. So this was the first lesson of the year we had here. And today is not going to be a lecture, it's not going to be a study, it's just going to be something about that I'm going to share with you, that I wanted to share with you. First of all, a heartful wish that you all have a happy new life. But through that, I think a lot of these tools for you to do that, you may find it here. Through the study of the doctrine, through the relationships that you're going to create, through a lot of things, Gustavo puts it as messages, and we are all messengers. We are all messengers of God. So you might hear something from a friend, from somebody who's sharing a class that may change you for good. So what I wanted to bring here tonight was some of the things that I learned here. Not just here physical house center, but through the Spiritism. So let's try changing this. Of course, we're all starting a new year. There's new resolutions. We all want to lose weight. We all started our gym memberships. And as Carlos Ferreira said last week, last Thursday was the second lecture here. He talked about the Lucky Charms. No, on the first we go jump our I don't know how many waves, eat I don't know how many grapes. Some dressed, you have to start the year with this color, dressed in this color, or the underwear has to be that color, and he talked about that, right? And he also gave some steps about what is really important besides all the Lucky Charms. But as a note to self, I put here, that today is the first year, not of the rest of my life. So it doesn't matter when we start. It doesn't have to be January 1st. Today is always a good day to start. Now is always the best moment. Today, now, you are the best you that you can be. Right? This is what we learned here too. So be happy with yourself. We all had this first class here on this Thursday. And what was this about? Who was in the class? What was the class about? What is the first question in the Spirit's book? What is God? And if we look here, the God that is brought to us here is completely loving. Is the God of the multiverses. It's not only one universe anymore. He's creating all these systems here. We can barely imagine in the beauty and the vastness. It's unimaginable. And who grew up? Thomas Edison says that. I do not believe in the God of the theologians, but that there is a supreme intelligence, I do not doubt. So last night we were talking about the probability of all this being created by chance. What are the odds? They calculated already. It's 1 in 10, I don't know how many billions. So basically, no. Impossible to be just by chance. All these stars, planets, galaxies turning around each other in this perfect connection, in this perfect timing, this perfect relation of space and time, there must be a higher intelligence behind it, right? Now, who grew up here thinking that God was, we had this image. I remember as a kid, I had this Bible for kids, and there was this image of God. It was always in a high place, like there was a mountain in the sky. It was an older male, serious, powerful, and always ready to look for who's naughty or nice. Anybody here or just me? Good, I don't feel alone. So, and here comes Santa. No, all these things that we create based on these ideas. Here comes Santa making his list, who's naughty, who's not. And I remember as a kid growing up, I was always afraid when I did something that I knew was wrong. okay, I'm not going to get my Christmas gift. And my birthday is on Christmas Day. So I'm not getting my Christmas gift. I'm not getting my birthday gift. And worst of all, I mean, it was this fear. Anybody grew up with the idea of God being, I mean, you have to be fear. You have to feel fear. Okay, so you're free from that. Yeah, I declare you free from that. The Spiritism declares free from that idea. It's total love. Divaldo Franco tells a story about one of his sisters committed suicide. She was a lot older than him. He was still a kid, and he loved her very dearly and always suffered a lot with this when she committed suicide. And he was always praying for her. And one day, he tells this in one of his lectures. He says that his mom went to a church and requested a mass to be done for her, for his sister, for her daughter. And because she had committed suicide, they were not allowed to. The priest was not allowed to pray this mass for her. So she left the church with Divaldo, and he was like, would your God forgive my daughter, your sister, for her suicide? And he says, my God loves so much that he doesn't need to forgive anything. So this love, this God that we are being introduced to, there's no human figure. It's not human, there's no human feelings. It's everywhere, mainly inside of us, I think, where we can find this power, this life. Now, Adenauer Novaes, he has a book that's called The Psychology of the Gospel. And he tells all about a lot of the teachings that Jesus brings, but he always brings it to our psyche, to our ego, to our what does he really mean about my Father has many places? Is it only because he has a lot of those stars, planets, and galaxies? Or is he also talking something about us, inside us? We have many places inside us, right? We have many moods. We have many loves. We have many dislikes. We have many shadows. So we are free to love these shadows here. We are free to acknowledge them, accept them, and change them. As we can, as we progress. There's no time limit because life goes on forever. The spirit is not going to die. Remember what I was saying here before, the first slides? You don't have a spirit. You are one. You have a body. The body will stay. Eventually it will crack and die, right? But your spirit goes on. And the lessons you have and this experience that we go through using this body, which is this tool that we have now, wonderful, marvelous, temporary. We have to take very good care of it, or it will die earlier than it should. But it is temporary, and it is for us to use the best we can to learn the experiences that we can. So Adenauer says we tend to learn our feelings. We have to pay attention in our feelings. That's how the universe talks. much less from the intellect, more from our feelings. So we should practice noble feelings through a few ways. And he gives a lot. He gives a list of things that we can accomplish this. We can, like charity, like being friend, like donating anonymously, taking care of somebody, watching somebody, a kid or an animal or something like that, voluntarily, not seeking any financial gain, not seeking any acknowledgement, not seeking any personal recognition. It is the fact of being with the masses, like Jesus when he came. What did he say when he did the Last Supper? He washed all the disciples' feet. No? What was he trying to show? Why did he do that? When they were discussing who was going to sit on his right in heaven, right? So who is the favorite? He has 12 of them. Who was his favorite? Who was going to sit next to him, closest to him? And what does he do at this time? He starts washing everybody's feet. And what does he say? What is his lesson? The one who wants to be the greatest should be the one who serves more. A big lesson of humility there. A big lesson of being anonymous, no? So being caught, being nice or naughty, it's, I guess, before I started studying the Spiritism, it was like that. The more I think, the more confused I get. Huh? And there's a lot of questions that we all have. We all have since the beginning of time. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Why we're here? Why am I doing here? Oh, or only me? Anybody else? Why am I going through this now? Why is this happening to me? Why do good things happen to bad people? Why do bad things happen to good people? Does anybody ask these questions? And then we start studying, and there's some answers that come. And one of this, he says, unshakable faith is what? Is the one that can face reason anytime. He was the one, Kardec was the one who said, if science proves me wrong, go with science. So if anything proves me, any of my ideas wrong, just take the road. And what's been happening over time? Most of his ideas have been proved correct. Science is getting closer and closer to prove what? That matter is? Einstein would say what? They would get to nothing, right? They will lose their explanation of where the matter being the base of all, because they're going to get to a point where there's not going to be anything left. And we are getting very close. We just got the particle of God a few months ago, right? Another thing, very powerful here. Responsibility, not guilt. That's another thing. Guilt paralyzes. Responsibility makes us do like Paul did. God, what do you want me to do? Jesus, what do you want me to do? What is it that I have to do to fix what I did wrong? And start working. It's not just, okay, you tell me that and you just standing there, don't do anything. No, we have to do our part. But in the big scheme of things, you gotta agree that the universe does the worst part. God does the worst part. Our part is very minimum. You just have to look at each other and get along. Can't be that hard. Right? Am I wrong? So happiness depends upon ourselves. This was said, what? 300 years before Jesus. So he's been sending his messengers for a long time. And by the way, you are the only you. You are the best you. You will always be the second best anyone else. So if you're trying to fulfill anybody else's dream, no wonder it's not working. If you're being short of being the best that you can, then you're failing to us, to everyone around you, and mainly to yourself. So if you feel like it, better start doing it. Saint Nike was right. Just do it. And the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation itself. It's what? It's always what we think of it. This Eckhart Tolle said that. So now,
in 17.
Obrigada, thank you, Omar. Save me. So, I'm going to show you a video, and it's about a conductor, João Carlos Martins. He used to play piano all his life, and then he got mugged when he was doing a presentation in Budapest, and he lost one of his hands, the movements in one of his hands. And as Murphy's Law, if it can get worse, it does, like Umberto said. And he lost the movements on the other hand, so he became a conductor. And he was, in 2011, he was the theme for Vai Vai, the samba school in Brazil, because he has this orchestra where he mixes the percussion from the samba schools, and he brings like classical mix of classical music and the samba and all the popular music. He has schools all over the country in Brazil for kids that cannot afford, and teaching classical music instruments, and he is wonderful. So he's going to tell a little bit about his story and how Bach has an impact on his life. But the way he puts it is, I just wanted to show you one way that a person overcame and made his obstacles for him to turn his a better life. So thank you, Antoine.
In 1717, the Duke, he sent Bach to jail. Bach, he was arrested in Weimar because he wanted to break a contract, and for 1 month he was in jail, incarcerated. When he was in jail, he decided to start the Weltrip de Clavier. 1 month Bach spent in jail perhaps was the most important month in musical history. Yes, in my life I had so many troubles. First, I lost my right hand. When I lost my right hand, I told myself, well, I can play with my left hand. I can do transcriptions. I can play the chaconne, the Brahms transcriptions. And then I lost my left hand too. And then I didn't know where could I go. At that time, I realized that I could conduct. And this was the importance of Bach in my life. He kept me alive. And today, if I can use only my song, I try to play some of his music. Bach with 2 notes, one on the right hand and the other in the left hand. He can build a cathedral. And this kind of experience for a young student, it's like magic for them. But you have to use something inside of yourself that you cannot explain. You cannot explain with words. You only can explain with the inspiration of your mind, with the inspiration of your heart.
Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you so much.